Excitement.
Well, we are
Excitement.
back much before anybody could have even anticipated. There was a reason why I asked you, can the team get past 50?
Oh
They
my
are 49
God.
for 9.
I hope you would have asked for something else today.
I didn't ask for anything else. Because see, I knew that conditions would be a whole lot tougher in the second innings. But this way,
This was funny.
55 all out, and to consider that in 2 innings for Sri Lanka, they have batted a total of 40 overs, scored 105 runs, just 13 better than what Shubman Gill achieved in 1 innings today. Just 13 runs better. When you were 3 runs, 4 wickets, and when you were 22 for 7, you had 8 for 29 rather, you had no chance of getting anywhere close to salvaging the situation. So, 5 wickets from Mohammad Shami. I knew that he would be the danger man, but a pitiful collapse from Sri Lanka. And there was a saying, at one point, Tony Gregg would exuberantly say, "These little Sri Lankans." But now Sri Lanka have been proven very, very little. And I think the tag of semi-minnows, if you may have to say, which I had given to Pakistan, now that doesn't look the case. I think it has to be shifted to Sri Lanka now.
I mean, just take a quick look at how that scorecard works, right? There's so many zeros and
Why are
ones.
you guys not dancing?
Exactly, there is no excitement here. I don't know why. That's the first thing I asked them.
Because beating Sri Lanka is nothing exciting.
Beating them so
Who's
convincingly.
Who's dancing?
Go watch outside.
They don't know cricket. They think they just beat their opponent. That's it.
That's exactly what you've done.
No. My main reason is it destroys your credibility and neutrality. You shouldn't dance. You shouldn't express your thing for anything because see, it's a contest. At the end of the day.
But at the end of the day, we are
And
also
you-
Indians.
You're Indian fans.
You're
also.
Exactly.
You're first a media personal. Then you are an Indian cricket fan.
That's a very big statement. Yeah.
Becoming preachy.
No, I'm not becoming preachy. See, you can't count me in that because, as you know, I'm not that much of an Indian cricket fan for all the obvious reasons. So, that is why, see, today, the one-sided nature of this contest doesn't make you feel excited. As I said,
Siddharth, you
One-
say the same for India-Pakistan match.
Yeah.
Today you saying the same for India-Sri Lanka. If you
Did you
And
hear-
now you are saying that
Did you
they are
hear-
saying
did you
minnows
hear
now.
what I said when I just came in? I said that when the tag of semi-minnows had given to Pakistan, it has to be shifted now to Sri Lanka. Because why? 40 overs.
Was they not already bearing that tag after what you saw in the Asia Cup?
Now-
But you never used it.
Did you hear what I had said about the stat that I had mentioned just before you came in?
We have Q in front of our names. Something you should get excited for
Did
now.
at least clap for the Indian.
Yeah, we
clap
at
for-
least
clap for the
exactly
Indian
we have the
performance.
final. We have the
Nothing
Q.
wrong.
Like
Wonderful performance.
Wonderful performance.
Although against opponents who, again, as I was saying, look at that scorecard. So many
0,
zeros.
0, 1, 0, 1.
It's like a binary sequence.
It's the
It's
same
basically it's basically computer language.
Just to put things in perspective, it was the same Sri Lankan side who against South Africa managed to score about 320, 330 here in Delhi when they were chasing a record total.
That showed the road.
But whatever said and done today, it's the same road or whatever you call this. India
This isn't a road.
350 runs were scored and then the
I'll tell you one
switched
thing.
on 55.
I'll tell you one thing. 40 overs, they have batted 2 times against India. 40 overs. They have only scored 13 better than Shubman Gill in 1 innings. Did you hear that stat before saying that, oh, I didn't appreciate all this? There's nothing to appreciate. Once is awesome. You dismantled them in the Asia Cup final. But now, this is an embarrassment. Sri Lanka are really embarrassing the cricketing world with their performances. Really?
No, by the way,
Yeah.
they're only getting embarrassed at the hands of one team.
They have gotten embarrassed in the hands of 3 teams consistently.
No, but how many teams managed to skill them out for a total less than 100? Forget 100, even 60.
60.
That's fine, but I think we all knew two big factors here. One, major mental block for Sri Lanka now when it comes to playing India.
Siraj.
Because leave aside Siraj, even beyond Siraj, why is it that people stopped caring about India-Sri Lanka bilateral series? 2 reasons. One, because they happened more often than you could, count. The second being is that India were the most comfortably dominant side in that. There's a reason now even why when India-Sri Lanka bilaterals do happen, You barely see any test cricket played between the two nations. Why?
There's only one test, two test series in the past 8 years.
Correct.
For a reason.
Because it's not a competition. Sri Lankan cricket has declined terminally to the point where they're not credible opposition anymore. Lest we forget, this is a team that made it to the World Cup on the basis of the qualifiers. 96 World Cup winners now having to resort to the qualifiers.
And one more thing,
runner-up.
your equality when it came to India versus Sri Lanka ended by 2014. That was the last.
2011, by the way, which a lot of people were talking
At the
about,
same venue.
same venue, World Cup final. That team, that 2011 team had a lot of genuine match winners.
Yes.
You had a Sangakkara, you had a Jayawardene, you had a Dilshan, a
had a
Lasith Malinga, Muralidharan, even some of the other bowlers. There was a Kulasekhara. These are all guys who were proven performers, guys who could genuinely damage you. They didn't make it to that final on the basis of a fluke. But the quality since then has been on terminal decline. It's been terrible.
There has been
But
no
nothing-
replacements for all those greats. There hasn't been a replacement. The India-Sri Lanka contest stopped becoming exciting after 2014 when all your legends in the Sri Lankan team retired.
Once there was no Murli, once the Sangakkaras, Jayawardenes,
Herath.
Chance, Herats.
So, there is no contest at this point in time. 50, fine, we thought we appreciated it because it happened for the first time. Dismantling any opposition for a 50 in the final of an Asia Cup is credit to it. But in a World Cup on the grander stage, this is even further humiliation because you lost by a margin of 302 runs.
By the way, because I just cannot stop, riding on this bandwagon at the moment. And if this Sri Lankan top order, let's say the first 5-6 batters were to have, let's say, a pin code, it'd be reading something like 001.
001 is actually, it's now you can have an ISD code also if you want in that. Okay, 00101. Because when you were 29 for 8 or when you were 3 runs for 4 wickets, you lost any credibility at that time because the problem is, okay, there's something going on there, but okay. Number one, look at how each and every wicket fell. Classical seam bowling at high speed. The first wicket itself, Jasprit Bumrah, 87-mile leg cutter. They were spooked, mentally gone.
Ripper, yeah. Straight
Any batsman would have been gone on that delivery. Anybody in this world.
It's all started. The downfall started with
With
Nishanka.
Pathum Nissanka, yeah.
See, that was a good ball, but beyond that, see, if you look at some of the batting, it lacked, there was a technical deficit.
Samara Vikrama's dismissal today when he got caught in the slip, I think third slip where Shreyas Iyer was standing, that reminded me, that I think was the poorest of all the dismissals we saw because it reminded me of Asalanka's dismissal in the Asia Cup final where length ball, he's giving it to the man at cover.
You were shot and everything that could work for India worked. A fantastic review by KL Rahul, thanks to the fact that the one that he got of Dushman the Chamir. I mean, it was fantastic reviewing, and KL Rahul behind the wickets today was absolutely brilliant.
Electric. He was putting on a good show for all the people who were there, jumping around all over the place, very, very proactive, and that's good. With the wicketkeeper, remember, the wicketkeeper is probably the one person on the cricket field who would have not only, let's say, a 360 view of everything, but also has everyone within earshot. You need to be proactive. You can't be meek.
Yep. And that's exactly what Sri Lanka were today. Meek. Absolutely meek. Because see, India have done what they couldn't do even in 2011. 2011 was a close match if you have to look at it. It was a final, high pressure and everything. But 3 humiliations in the past that India suffered at the hands of Sri Lanka. I may say 4 humiliations. Every single one of those humiliations, they say na, hisab ho gaya aaj. 79 lost an associate nation beating India at that time by 47 runs. 1996, the twin humiliations in Delhi and in Kolkata. Then Sri Lanka, by the way, bowling India out for 54 in a final in Sharjah. उस सब का आज हिसाब ले लिया है. Because this is the ultimate humiliation that you can get.
Yeah, so while the match was on and those early wickets fell, I got a message from one of my friends which read that Shreyas ka, Virat ka, Gill ka, sabka badla lega Shami.
Yeah, he got career best figures for him, 5 for 18. His third 5-wicket haul, third in the World Cup, if I may add.
He's already gotten 14 wickets this World Cup, if I'm not wrong, or more. This
5,
World
4,
Cup.
5, 14.
Yeah, 14.
5
He's played
for
3
5.
wickets.
Plenty of records now. He's already
Surpassed Zahir Khan.
sorry.
Leading wicket taker
Yeah,
for
leading
India.
yeah, in World
Leading
Cups.
with 45 now.
Yeah.
India's leading wicket taker in ODIs in ODI World Cups. By the way, that has come just in 14 innings. 14 innings. The likes of Javagal Srinath and Zahir Khan, who are there with 44, both logged in second place, had some 32, 33 innings against their name.
Yeah, 92, 96, 99, 2003. Yeah, he did have a long run, but still.
And now I think he's got the most fifers also in
Yep.
the World Cup. 4 fifers now for Mohammad Shami.
3, right?
See, Afghanistan,
Yeah, no, for Afghanistan where he took 5 wickets.
didn't he take a...
No, that 5 wickets was against England, Birmingham.
No, but the match that he took
wickets.
hat-trick in...
4 wickets. Southampton, 2019.
That was the Afghanistan match.
He took a 5-wicket haul on his comeback, okay. He took that, then he took 4 wickets. In New Zealand, 5 wickets, 4 wickets against, who did we play on 29th? England. Now 5 wickets here. So he's gotten 3 5-wicket hauls in the World Cup. And he's taken 4 5-wicket hauls in the space of 1 month. That's how 5 wickets against Australia and Mohali, remember? That? 3 here.
Sensational.
Sensational.
Lethal.
Shami.
Lethal.
You know, it doesn't happen too often that injuries end up being a blessing in disguise. I think every Indian fan right now somewhere would be like, okay, Hardik Pandya, we don't quite miss you that much because look what we've discovered.
And each and every time, Shami, whenever he's been there, look at the victory margins. 5-wicket victory margin, 100-run victory margin, 302 victory margin.
In fact, I'd love to see just how much this win has boosted India's net run rate, because I'm sure it's staggering. 300-run victory, you bundled out the opposition in under 20 overs. That is every single thing, which is not only giving it a boost, it's giving it a turbo boost.
So, when I'm appreciating and all this, isn't this appreciation? Look at the magnitude of the numbers that's there. Look at the magnitude, the impact that Shami is having.
But talking more about, you know, what this does for India, of course we obviously knew, let's talk about, you know, what we learned from this game or half a game, whatever you want to call it.
Wait, before you come to that, just go up, I want to see the scorecard as to, okay,
There's
that's...
nothing much to see.
No, wait, 5, only 6 boundaries hit.
Oh, by the way, of those 6 boundaries, at least 4 were owing to the fact that India had test match like fields.
Yeah. This was test match bowling.
This one point I remember when I think Siraj was once, you know, driven. I remember I was just hoping and I was just thinking, will he be giving this a chase again like we saw in that Asia Cup
Asia Cup final, yeah.
That didn't happen though.
And by the way, one was a bye. So 7 boundaries, one was a bye. And if you look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4th highest, Mr. Extras.
In fact, if you're looking at it that way, they hit 7 boundaries if you include the bye. And I'm being very generous here. Shreyas Iyer hit 9 boundaries in his time at this crease. So 3 4s and 6 6s.
Yep.
So again, humiliation of the highest order.
That's what. Only 13 runs better in 2 innings combined than Shubman Gill's knock today of 92. That's it. Had anybody scored 100, this would have been an even bigger humiliation. See, Rohit Sharma defeated them alone by 13 runs in that Kolkata ODI. He hit 264, Sri Lanka all out for 251. But this tops it as far as everything is concerned when it comes to humiliation. And now serious questions will have to be asked about the future of Sri Lankan cricket, because
I think these questions have been swirling for a long time.
now it's bang
Now it's too impossible to even ignore.
Yeah.
I mean, let's me forget, this is a nation right now that are so starved for talent that they basically had to bring back an almost retired Angelo Matthews into the playing into the 15, because you genuinely just didn't have options once you lost Dasun Shanaka. It's that bad. It's really grim, dire, whatever word it is you want to use as far as Sri Lankan cricket is concerned. It's just not looking good at all. I mean, they were one of the ultimate underdog stories, you know, from an associate nation, winning the World Cup as an associate nation,
winning all the ICC events.
Yeah, winning all ICC events, becoming a full member nation, being part or being one of the key members of the growth of the sport in the, let's say, Southeast Asian bloc, to now basically being on a point of terminal decline. And I will say this, not just about them, even for that matter, I've seen a lot of talk about what is happening even in Pakistan. Bangladesh, by the way, have forever been stuck in a cycle of potential.
Yeah.
It's forever been that. You always look and say, oh, there's potential. But that potential has been struggling to be fulfilled ever since they beat India in 2007.
Yep.
It's now 2022. I was a boy then, I'm a man now. And not much has changed.
Not much has changed. And remember, this is the same Sri Lanka who beat defending champions England, who absolutely walloped them. Now, you may say from January till November, India has defeated Sri Lanka twice by a margin of 300 runs. 317 in Thiruvananthapuram, now 302 here. Imagine, see, this is the embarrassment that is now coming. Now, which nation has put up a fight in this ODI World Cup for India? It's great that no nation has. You may say only New Zealand did to a certain extent.
I would say Afghanistan also, for all intents and purposes, I know they didn't put up a fight.
With the ball.
But the ball, no. I'd say even their batting was credible. This was an Afghanistan team who we said
282 they
exactly had two good batters. To put 280 up against a good Indian bowling lineup was still at least a creditable thing. And remember, this is also an Afghanistan side who, despite whatever talk we have about Pakistan, actually have their fate in their own hands.
Yes, and remember, even Australia put up a good fight. 3 wickets, but
Talk about how good India have been this tournament and how big a gulf there is between India. Right now, you can easily say, I think, even if you don't, let's say, like this Indian team, if you're in some opposition camp, there is India, there is daylight, and then there's other teams in this tournament. And perhaps, South Africa would be that one team looking to challenge India, but they also haven't looked as good. They've looked good with the bat, not with the ball as threatening and menacing as this Indian team has.
In fact,
only two sides. Only two sides haven't been bundled out. Otherwise, all oppositions in these 7 matches that India have played have been bundled out. Bangladesh won and Afghanistan won, but they too were 7-8 down. Otherwise, Sri Lanka, Australia 199, New Zealand bundled out,
England bundled out 130.
Pakistan
bundled out.
Yeah.
Each and every opposition bundled out. India of the 60 wickets, rather we played 7, so 70 wickets, I think they've taken 66 wickets.
Yeah.
That's a stat for you.
That's the stat, and that's why, look, every dismissal, Karunaratne, ball coming back in at pace, trap plumb in front. For me, the wicket was Kusal Mendes.
Exactly. I think there's a thing with, Sri Lankan captains getting bold. That too to Mohammad Siraj, because it was Shanaka then in the Asia Cup final. Today it was Kusal Mendes. Replicas, I would say.
And there was a delay in play because of that. Why? The delivery was so perfect. The bail got broken in two. That was how perfect it was.
So I heard a lot of fans just now. We did a show. We'll of course hear from Robin Uthappa a little later on Sports Today. But every fan from Kolkata, Mumbai, everywhere is saying 11-0.
Yeah.
This World Cup, it's going to be 11-0. Nothing more, nothing less. This Indian team is unstoppable.
Yes.
Is that how everyone?
Looking at the way how they are bulldozing, steamrolling, decimating, rampaging, it doesn't seem very, very far-fetched. Like, see, everybody was saying, like, maybe it could be like the Australian team of 2003 or 7, going through a tournament undefeated. Could happen. That is the way how this Indian team has performed. I mean, look, they have got the queue. Officially, first team to qualify.
Well done, India. First team. Technically, I don't know, it will be interesting to see. One, they qualify. I think, are they guaranteed now the top spot? Because South Africa can get to 14, right? But for that, India would have to lose both to Netherlands and South Africa. So assuming, let's say, even if they were to lose to South Africa, which I don't think they will, but even if I was to, look at the worst case scenario, they lose to South Africa, I don't think this Indian team is losing to Netherlands. As good as Netherlands are playing, again, full respect, they've done a few upset, but I think this Indian team is just on another level right now. I don't think they're beating. So if India get to 16, which they should, minimum, is that done? Is it top spot guaranteed?
Then if South Africa win, they get to 14. India will stay on 14.
South Africa win the match against India, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Then each would have played 8 games apiece, isn't it? So if South Africa win, they will stay on, India will stay on 14, South Africa will go to 14. Maybe the net run rate might
See, I'm saying South Africa win everything. 14, na?
Then they have one more game is Afghanistan. South Africa
They will
get to
get to
16.
16.
So they can get to 16.
So India can only get to second position if South Africa beats them.
So that means first spot is not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed.
No,
That
first
is
spot not
interesting.
guaranteed.
That
But
is
top
because
two finishes guaranteed.
because I thought if India were to now just beat Netherlands, that would guarantee them the top spot. But looking at it, it does not. Because if South Africa, assuming win against Afghanistan and India,
Yeah.
they also get to 16. And right now, believe it or not, despite India's thumping win versus Sri Lanka, South Africa still have a better net run rate than
exactly.
India. Well, that is incredible.
229 runs, 139 runs,
190 runs.
If those are going to be the victory margins, yes, of course.
See, but because of that, from 0.9, I mean, sorry, it was 1.1, India jumped to 2.1. That's how staggering the net run rate
Well, I
jump
told
has
you, no,
been.
it's not just a boost, it's a turbo boost that you've
Turbo
gotten.
boost, yeah.
Because
Yet
you've
you're
got-
behind South Africa.
Yeah.
So, but then they are the only ones, though technically there are 3 games for Australia, that is at best 6 points, that
14.
takes them to 14.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they can't really then
They can't.
finish in the top 2. So, the only team that India is the first team to qualify,
Yeah.
but for them to be guaranteed a top spot is the next game
Yeah.
in 3 days' time. On Sunday, if India beats South Africa,
That's it.
good chance of them doing it, then they're number 1.
Yep, they are number 1, and depending on who finishes 4th, either Mumbai or Kolkata. Because if Pakistan make a late surge,
No, you're playing Mumbai.
yeah,
I think one of the best things to have come out of this game is also the fact that this, I would say, a good 70-80% chance that India plays their semi-final here.
yeah.
Barring 2 very unlikely scenario that they don't finish top of the table, very unlikely as we just discussed, and the unlikely scenario of Pakistan qualifying,
Yeah.
okay, ahead of New Zealand. If that was to happen, only then will India not be playing in Mumbai, otherwise they're playing in Kolkata. But I said what's the biggest positive is that the biggest win of the tournament has come in Mumbai, the venue where they're most likely, as of now, going to be playing their semi-final. So whoever comes there, this is the confidence that this Indian team will take with them.
Exactly. And see, everything clicked for them, right from the bowling, right from the decision-making review. I mean, that one KL Rahul review, staggering. And look at how Siraj set it up. Okay, one delivery to Dimut Karnaratne, it came back in sharply at 85 miles per hour plus speed, caught in the crease, plumb LBW. Delivery of the match, wide of the crease, angled in, straightened, Kusal Mendes gone. Then Sadira Samaravikrama unfortunately again played a loose shot, that was only loose shot. Otherwise then Shami, upright seam, skid, zip, decimated everybody. Matthews came back in, the leg stump went for a walk. And that is the reason why your trio, your fast bowling trio are the main reasons why, be it chasing or be it if you want to bat first, this trio will ensure that it is defended. If you are chasing, the total will be slightly lesser because of this trio. So that's why.
So what happens to, I just want to see, what happens to Sri Lanka, your country or your team, what should I call them?
They were third team.
Third?
New Zealand.
What happens to them when they come up against India?
That's the mental block. That's what I pointed out. In 2 innings, they have batted 40 overs, 105 runs, only 13 better than what Shubman Gill did today.
So the joke is that because of Mr. Daniel Alexander on Twitter, because of his tweets, India has come up with a performance like they have. So his though I don't want to give too much importance to trolls, but you know why? It's now in hindsight it's so funny because it makes him look like an idiot because of performance we've seen. So that's why I'm enjoying that bit. I wouldn't have otherwise. So his first tweet before the game started was, I don't follow him, so I had to search for him. First tweet was, which team are you supporting in the ODI today between Sri Lanka and team 36? So he keeps rubbing that 36.
Exactly.
So this was his first. So I think that's the joke that the Indian team then decided, let's make the opposition team 36, which they could have, but for some runs at the end that Rajita and Tikshana got. Otherwise, it would very well have been 36. That was the first tweet. Then once he started getting trolled, then he changed to that, 7 ICC tournaments to Sri Lanka is still greater than 5 ICC tournaments for India, which is a calculation is done based on Champions Trophy,
Which they won only one.
T20 World Cup,
One.
and ODI World Cup.
Only 3.
So how does he make?
Where does 7 come into play?
Where does 7 come
Is he counting juniors as well?
Under 19 World Cup, I think.
No,
Sri
then
Lanka
to India will be
Exactly.
far ahead.
7.
I don't know. And it must be only men.
Have they made it to 7 knockouts? Versus 5 only for India.
Or it may have been 7-5. I think the record.
No, India made it 5-4 in the
I
World
don't know.
Cup.
Anyway, I don't want to waste too much time trying to decipher.
I mean,
that.
if we start taking that particular individual seriously, then I think.
No, I'm not taking him seriously.
Yeah.
I'm only reason I'm taking it because it's making him look like a fool.
Yes,
You know.
I mean,
So then
even Sri Lankans don't take him seriously.
I know,
That's
I
the
know,
thing.
I know.
He is a troll. He's a classic troll, and that's why.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it's just then once he saw that Sri Lanka are getting hammered and all that he had tweeted was going against him, then he came up with the other one saying, when will Indian medium pacer Jasprit Bumrah's suspicious bowling action be reported and tested? Like he went that low,
Yeah.
that low, and this is coming from a guy that has produced from a country that has produced Lasith Malinga and now Pathirana.
There have been others as well. There have been
Muthaiya
others as
Muralidharan.
well.
Yeah.
Even beyond Malinga, in fact, Pathirana is just one of many Malinga copycats. There have been others who've come.
Muthaiya Muralidharan. As much as I love the guy, but
Yeah.
just to make him realize that.
You can't live in a glass house and be throwing stones, my friend.
And so the final, like a jilted lover, the final thing that he sent out was India's lowest team totals in men's international. He's put out. So Test 36, ODIs 54, and T20 74.
Good on him.
So, but lowest ODI 54 is India's lowest ever.
Yeah.
And now India has dismissed Sri Lanka in a matter of 2 months
Yeah.
for less than
50 and
54. From less than, around that in just 2 months.
Yeah.
So
50 and 55.
I think the Twitter world can decide who the joke is on.
yeah, that's why I took it. I
Yeah,
wanted
I
to
It's like.
show the world what in.
But by the way, Nikhil, one thing that you missed out on was a mini Siddharth rant. And he now says that even this is no contest, and semi-minnows tag now from Pakistan, he's given it to his third team.
That takes a lot of heart, yeah.
Oh, it is true.
But he's saying, this is also nothing contest.
Why
It
don't
is
you
not-
plug it in? Every time you do this, it goes here, so I can't hear it. Put it in. But put it. But when you talk, you do like this. You go like this. So half the thing.
I have given you my reasons also. For a decade, there has been no contest.
No, I
The
agree.
Indian
It's a nothing contest. I'm sorry. Even as fans, I know you'll celebrate the margin of the victory and just how dominant
That you
were.
must.
But come on, honestly, hand over heart, and I'm asking this to everyone watching. How many of you look at India Sri Lanka and are like, no, this is a match I have to meet. It's like appointment viewing.
It's not. It's not. But I also don't expect these kind of performances from Sri Lanka. Now, this is a team that has done well. They, by the way, are still in the race for the semi-final. What I'm saying, that this is the team that got 340 44 45 whatever versus Pakistan. This
They
is
beat the defending champions.
they
England.
beat England.
They beat England, they got 320, 330 odd against South Africa also. Not like they threw
So
in
that's
the
what I'm
towel.
saying. While I agree that if you look at India versus Sri Lanka and who's the favorite, I would definitely give India the favorite stack. But not this kind of performance. I think there is, as you're saying, there is a mental block. And let's be honest, put hand on heart. I want to know from the staunchest of Indian supporters, if they're watching us, how many thought that India would be as dominant as they have been in this World Cup? At the start of the World Cup, how many would have thought India would have been this dominant? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. We all picked India to make it to the semis, but you would have thought that, okay, out of the 9, they would have won 6, maybe lost 3, that kind of a performance. Or if they had a very good World Cup, won 7, lost 2, or a fantastic World Cup, won 8, lost 1, though, I don't want to jinx it. People will say that could still happen. Hello, you never know. They still have to play 2 games.
Yeah.
But this kind of performance that after 7 games is going to be 7 zip. I don't, especially when you knew that by that time you would have played an Australia, England, even a Pakistan on a high pressure game. You never know. So, and New Zealand. So you would have played all these games, and not lost a single game. I'd put my hand on heart and I'd say I would have never predicted it. That's how good they've been in this tournament. This was a batting track, and yet you've made a team pack up for 55.
Exactly.
It's absolutely incredible. And I think as much as we celebrate our batters, for me, the stars or the standout feature of this Indian team has been their bowling. And I'm not saying it from now. Take it out from the first game itself. Yes, batters have put their hand up and got you runs, like Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, today Shreyas Iyer, Shubman Gill, whatever. But the impact that this bowling lineup is having now, why? Because we've seen other batting teams also get runs. So like your team is getting runs, fine, others also. But no team has been able to dictate the opposition and make them play on their own terms like the Indian bowling unit has. Please tell me any bowling unit that even comes close. Like there's not even a competition.
Of the 70 wickets that they could have taken, they took 66.
I mean, next level dominance. Because in batting, I could say that, Australia started a bit slow, but now, they're matching the Indian batting lineup stroke to
South Africa.
I could say that about South Africa. They lost that one free game, but in terms of batting prowess, they are there matching India's step. Bowling lineup, tell me one team that even comes closer. That's the standout feature, and that's why India have been as dominant as they have.
Exactly. I mean, look, everybody, it's like, again, the pack mentality. Look at the pack mentality came in the game against Pakistan. Everybody took 2 wickets. There wasn't anybody who dominated. Here, Bumrah set it up with an absolutely magnificent leg cutter. First ball, if you get that, you're in trouble. 87 miles per hour. Siraj getting one ball to deck back in Karunaratne gone, and that too, they're having the same kind of impact, be it against left or right-handers.
Yeah.
Today, this wasn't an ODI that was played. It was a test match bowling length. 3 slips, the length was fuller. The ball of the day for me was Siraj coming wide of the crease, angling in Kusal Mendes, top of off bail, gone.
It was. So I saw a tweet where Irfan actually mentioned that the ball of the tournament for him is the first wicket that Bumrah got.
Bumrah bowled, yes, to Patum Nisanga, yep. I mean, it just straightened so wickedly. He was squared up, Patum Nisanga, and that's why they were swinging the ball at 3 degrees today. Where most of the other, in this whole venue, if you look at it, previous games, no one's even gotten 2 degrees of
1.7, I think it was.
2 degrees. These guys were going at 3 degrees.
3.2, 3.3 is what Siraj was getting in his second over.
And that too, the key difference, late swing. Absolute late swing is what.
By the way, there were a couple of deliveries. Nobody had any idea how they missed the stumps.
Yeah.
Such was the swing.
But again, Indian bowlers outstanding. But also tells you that Mumbai, which it's famous for, helps fast bowlers.
Yep.
Especially, with the breeze coming in from the ocean, there's a lot of moisture in the air. And the pitch also, that red soil gives that extra bounce, allows the ball to do a bit. So it tells you that the Mumbai pitch helps fast bowling. Now, why I'm saying that is, despite the fact that Indian bowlers have been outstanding, they've also got assistance from the conditions as well as the pitch on offer. Now keep that in mind and put into perspective the knock that Virat Kohli and Shubman Gill played today.
Yep.
So when Rohit Sharma got out and those overs from Chamira where they were finding it very tough to bat on, just tells you how tough it was in those conditions to survive. And yet you had a situation where Virat Kohli steadied the ship, Shubman Gill gave him that company, and they weathered that storm to get 2 runs. So even though Virat has not got his 100, but I think this knock should rate very highly, because weren't the easiest conditions for a batter to bat on. And where Madhushanka was looking no less than Wasim Akram on the day, not taking nothing away from Madhushanka, I know he's picked up wickets earlier, but he was made to look like Wasim Akram. That's how lethal his bowling seemed to be. And in that situation, Virat, steadies the innings, gets you those runs, of course helped by Shubman Gill. So 2 very top class innings we've seen from both. I'm guessing that once the ball became a bit old, it got easier to bat on.
Yes.
But to weather that storm, otherwise what would have happened, again typical one of some of those games you've seen versus Pakistan, Australia, 20 for 3 or 4. It could have been. That was the kind of conditions that were there in the pitch that was there. Could have been there. So kudos to both Virat and Shubman for the knock.
Just an indication, okay. When India survived first 15 to 17 overs, Virat survived a couple of drop chances.
Yeah.
The fielding was also kind of not up to the mark. The lengths also were not up to the mark in certain occasions.
So you keep bashing Pakistan. What would you want to say about your team's fielding today?
That is what. I mean, they dropped a couple of key chances today. And if you look at it, where were Sri Lanka undone? 29 for 8. And when you look at the way how Rajita and Tikshana were batting, it did become easier after the 15th to 17th over. It did become, that's why you could hit those drives, you could hit those strokes, but then they didn't survive the first 12, 13 overs of high class disciplined swing. What was the difference? Discipline in the Indian bowling, top notch, every delivery on the mark. Sri Lanka on the other hand didn't have that. They just didn't. And batting, what let them down in the Asia Cup? High quality seam bowling at consistent levels. Here, high quality seam bowling at consistent levels. Nothing has changed from what happened in September till now, November. The Sri Lankan backroom staff aren't learning, the Sri Lankan batters are not learning, and what was expected, you had, as I mentioned in the previous game also when they lost to Afghanistan, you had one batter in form, but there was no backup. If Mendes was in form, Sadira Samaravikram was not in form. That's how it was. Today when everybody fell in a pack, 29 for 8, you're done.
Goes to the winter past, what would it be for Sri Lanka? Goes to the Asia Cup past.
Asia Cup past. And look, this, you would say ghost of 23 past here, because see, in January, you were decimated by 317 runs, all out for 73.
Yeah, Thiruvananthapuram.
Yeah, Siraj again doing the damage. Here, September 50, now 55. Take your pick.
And I mean, with Sri Lanka, I think what is so obvious and why I say that they are in that phase now where it's terminal decline. Not even leave aside the India results, which have been pretty politely terrible. At this point, this is a gimme match for India.
Yeah.
You go, take the 2 points, go home. When Afghanistan beat them, how many people were surprised?
Not
I
many.
didn't see that many people being surprised, and that tells you everything you need to know.
Like they say in Hindi, Shani bhari hai.
Shani is heavy.
Shami bhari hai, not Shani.
Shami is
bhari hai.
Or they may say Siraj bhari hai, because he averages in against Sri Lanka 7. That is Siraj's average of the ball against Sri Lanka. And if you look at Shami, 3 matches, 13. I'm sure his World Cup average, his average in 2023 will be right up there with the very best in the business. So when you got Shami and say, that's the saying, if Lily doesn't get you, Tomo will. If Shami doesn't get you, Siraj will. If Siraj doesn't, Bumrah will. If not any, everybody will get you then. Kuldeep will.
So this game should also be remembered once India win the World Cup and we look back and we're going to analyze. Then this game will be remembered for the game that actually allowed India to tick all their boxes. So they reached till the Sri Lanka match when we'll be doing the World Cup story 4-5 years down the line. So this will be the match where India reached on some outstanding performances from 6-7 players, but they reached here with not major but minor question marks over Shubman Gill, over Shreyas Iyer and Mohammad Siraj. The 3 S's.
Yep.
Siraj,
Aced
Shubman, Shreyas. 3 S's. Minor question.
Siraj also.
He did include Siraj.
I did. 3 S's. Na?
Looking at
Shreyas.
Is Harshit doing
Siraj.
Harshit?
You didn't include Surya Kumar in that.
You should next time when you say think in your mind, calculate and then say.
But to do that, there has to be something else being done beforehand. No?
Thinking.
Listening.
Listening. I don't listen. So 3 S's. So this game will be remembered for those 3 S's also being those missing pieces in the puzzle coming together. So 3 boxes, the last 3 boxes also tick. So now when India play the top of the table clash, which was versus New Zealand, but now South Africa. Now when India play, barring Hardik Pandya who's not available, everyone who will be playing would have at some point or the other helped India win a game.
Yes.
Okay, so Shubman Gill, check. Rohit Sharma, multiple checks.
Virat
Kohli, multiple checks. Shreyas Iyer, check.
KL
Rahul, also few checks.
Yes.
Hardik is not here, so Surya Kumar, 1 check.
Yeah, England game.
1 check, at least got a check.
Also 2 checks now. New Zealand and today.
Who?
Yeah.
Jadeja.
I would say even
check
Australia.
couple.
Australia game,
Jadeja, 100%.
4 wickets.
I didn't even read Jadeja. Of course, Jadeja, few checks. Then Shami
check,
checks.
check.
Bumrah,
Check.
Kuldeep,
Check.
Siraj.
Check.
You know who would be really
All
proud of
checks.
watching our show right now if he is? Kesrick Williams.
All
the checks.
Book. Yeah, all the checks, yes. The notebook. But he would have to run out of pages by now.
Yeah.
Such has been the Indian dominance at this point in
I
time.
have to record Shashwat here. I'm just going to send him.
Yeah, okay. Sure. So that's the situation. That's why, look, 7-7, many people are saying it could be 11-0. I don't disagree with them because which team can genuinely challenge India?
Right now, realistically, the answer to your question is only South Africa. Only South Africa. But even that is very conditional. If South Africa bat first, but even then, what if India chase down well?
Yeah.
You do have, I mean, let's be fair, this Indian team very much do prefer chasing.
Look,
you have someone like a Kohli there.
You could technically have an India versus Australia final in 2023 in Ahmedabad. That seems to be the situation now, where it's all heading to. An India versus Australia final, because look, you may see a South Africa-Australia semi-final.
Yeah.
Maybe. The fourth team, we don't know. It could be India, New Zealand, it could be India, Pakistan. Or who knows? Darkest of dark houses, India, Afghanistan. It might happen because see, Afghanistan, tomorrow they are facing the Netherlands. If they win, they get to 8. But their worst problem is they face South Africa and Australia.
Exactly.
Australia will be at this venue, by the way.
Very, very tough game.
With Australia, I think right now the only doubt which I've had is two things. One, they also seem to have gotten some weird injuries at the worst of times.
Yeah.
You've got March, of course, not an injury, it's personal reasons. It's a whole different thing. But him being missing suddenly out of nowhere,
Glenn
massive
Maxwell.
blow. No Glenn Maxwell, freak
Maxwell
injury.
also, let's not forget, he's trusted with the ball as well, so it's a double whammy.
Spin. Yep, that'll be a big blow. But okay, if not Maxwell, then maybe you will see Stoinis in the next game.
Yeah, but they also do have players who have probably not been in as great form.
Yeah.
Smithy.
Smith's
Not really been in great form. Labuschagne is one bad performance away from being dropped at this point.
So see, the two replacements are already there, but the problem is their impact has not been that great. Marcus Stoinis is a replacement for Glenn Maxwell. But on the other hand, Mitchell Marsh, Cam Green, but Green's form has been more.
Green, I think, hasn't been the same player since, I would argue, the
Ashes.
IPL. Not even the Ashes. Even the Ashes, his contribution wasn't that much.
With the bat, he had
Yeah,
contributed.
with the bat, but again, with the ball, he was found wanting more often than not.
Watch
His
Ben
major
Stokes took to him in
contributions
Lords.
Again, coming in the last year's T20 series which he played here in India, made his debut. Again, made a mark that
Had a decent IPL.
Had a decent IPL, I would say. But
that's
barring that,
That's
it's been a lot of misses for him.
Yeah, it is. So that's why, look, the problem is you may be looking at an India versus Australia final at this point in time. Because look, that's where all the stars are aligning towards. Because South Africa versus Australia, you're looking at that as number 2 and 3. I don't think any nation is going to number 1 now, barring India, because it could be either South Africa, because Australia also, they can only realistically get to only 12 points. Because they are on 8.
Who?
Australia.
South Africa can overhaul India. No?
That's the only thing.
That's the thing. If they beat India and then of course they win their last game,
Then you
as
could
well,
see an India-Australia
which is
semi-final
against
here.
Netherlands for them, you expect them to then be finishing up top, especially given the net run
So,
rate.
16. You are at most India is reaching 16. So, they need to lose to South Africa, but I don't see that happening. So, that's why you're getting 18. South Africa is finishing on 16. Australia is finishing on 14. And fourth spot is up for grabs.
Any other thoughts, or should
Have
we
we
take
talked
questions?
about the law of averages yet?
What law of averages?
What law?
No, I want them to lose against South Africa.
I
anyhow
honestly,
now.
there's a part of me which
Honestly.
does not want them to go unbeaten
Yeah.
in the semis.
Not at
I
all. I
don't
don't want.
I don't mind.
I genuinely want them to lose against
Look,
South Africa.
I can understand the generation.
I am
from-
scared.
You know what? That one loss can actually be unnerving. You don't want that.
Look,
I am scared. I don't want the first loss to come.
I
in
know
semi-final.
that he's coming from a generation that has been scarred. Because, but remember, if you have a loss against South Africa, what is the guarantee you won't lose in the semi-final also?
I know. At least I will not be that scared going into a semi-final. You know what? I also feel.
Given the totals that South Africa have been posting, let's say if you lose by, let's say, a margin of about 70 runs, 80 runs for India, that's as good as losing by about 150 runs. The way this Indian team is playing, that margin will look much bigger than it really could be. You don't want that. You don't want this Indian team to be side going into the semi-final or having
Okay,
let's
if
say
not
that.
lose the game, at least be tested to the fullest, because in the first game versus Australia, you were 3 down, but thankfully
See.
your total was less.
Look,
Against
I'll
New
tell you
Zealand,
one thing.
Virat got you through. Against South Africa, I want you to chase a bigger total and then be 3 down again and then chase down that total.
is not in their hands. I mean, let's be very honest about it. And all these kind of talks is like, I mean, I know it's a superstitious aspect, but please
Yeah.
look at it from a very detached perspective and look. Australia were not tested in 2007 at all. Hardly any match they were tested.
Yeah.
Okay. 2003, only two games they were tested. One against Pakistan where they were 5 down, but it took a brilliant knock from Andrew Simons to rescue them. And then the England game, where in 204, they were 135 for 8, but Andy Bickle won you that match.
This is the 2007 World Cup.
Three World Cup. In 3, okay, there was one more game. Bickle again against New Zealand. Bond took 6 for 23, 84 for 6. They went to 204, but Brett Lee blew you away. But the margin was 101 runs. That was the margin, but they were tested. So, see, it is no guarantee that if you suffer a loss against South Africa, you will do well in the semi-final or the final. Because remember, a semi-final or a final teams will be playing with a different level of intensity.
Because there it's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing. You could see New Zealand raise their game. And remember, New Zealand were bogged down by injuries. Wrong team combination. Remember, in Dharamshala, you didn't play Kane Williamson because he was still having that injury.
Because you couldn't play him.
Who knows if he comes back for the semi-final? Who knows what
I
can
wouldn't
happen.
mind playing. A question to you, all three of you, is which is the one team you would want India to face in the semi-finals?
Anybody?
I don't care.
One team. If you have to
care.
pick one team,
No, I don't care, genuinely.
You don't?
I don't. I
You're
think
not even scared of an Australia right now.
No.
No.
It's not that Australian.
It's not about,
team.
and it's not just about, I'm not scared. I don't think you should hope for favorable draws. We
Yeah.
learned that the hard way in 2019.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh, New Zealand, we'll beat them. Didn't work that way, did it? Knockouts are a different proposition because, again, that's the beauty of a knockout game, is that your past form almost does kind of go for a toss.
It doesn't matter at all.
Exactly.
Look at New Zealand.
Look at Pakistan, the way they got through in the 2020 T20
No, 2022.
22.
Yeah.
And see what happened then.
They lost to Zimbabwe and ended up playing the final.
Exactly.
Look at what happened even in 1992. New Zealand won 8 games. 8 out of 8. 8 zip. But their last league game was against Pakistan, which they lost.
That's
You got tested, but then you lost to the same opponent in the semi-finals.
That's why I don't think that I really appreciate the fact that the team is playing this way right now. Just the thing that you're saying, all your previous results would not matter in the playoffs also. So that is something that is still concerning me, because as of now, I haven't seen this team doing well in a knockout game. So that is exactly what I want to see in the semi-final. I don't think
Then
this
it is
result
a issue
is
up
going to-
here.
And also, I think they've done whatever they can as far as the group stages go. You couldn't have asked for a better group stage if you ask me.
I mean,
could
see,
not have asked.
they were tested 2 for 3 against Australia. They
Yeah,
bounced
yeah.
back and won. 40 for 3 against England. They bounced back and got to 230.
Even the New Zealand match, was a tricky match.
Tricky match. So that's why, look, you have won against the 3 most favorable nations that you were thinking could win the World Cup also.
Those are also 3 semi-finalists you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or were rather,
More or less.
England, because they're no longer in the scheme of things.
Yeah. You defeated Pakistan, which you all felt for an ego, this thing that yes, we have to win against them. But remember, even Pakistan are not out, by the way. This result means that even Pakistan, their fate could be decided on the 4th. Because if they beat New Zealand,
Then suddenly the cat is among the pigeons.
I don't see New Zealand qualifying. Okay, they may
Yeah.
beat Sri Lanka. They may beat them on 9th in Bangalore, but what if that game is washed out?
Yeah,
doomed.
and they end up losing to Pakistan. Then I also see Pakistan coming, and India then playing their semi-final on 16th rather than 15th.
So that's the thing. Anything. Afghanistan tomorrow will get to 8.
Potentially could get to it.
Could get to 8 because they face the Netherlands.
Yeah, I'm not discounting that Dutch team though.
Yeah,
Very good team.
but if the Dutch beat Afghanistan, that's it. Game over.
Yeah.
Even 10 points, then again they need other results.
Other
going
results
their way.
going their way. Right now, it's still in Afghanistan's hands. Put it that way.
Exactly. So it's been a very embarrassing performance from Sri Lanka. Let's be very honest about it. Serious questions have to be asked about what next now for them. Because if you're fighting against the economic superpowers, This is the performance that you're putting up in a World Cup, in an Asia Cup.
It's just not good enough.
Bilaterals, you've not won against India for nearly a decade or so. You got tour washed frequently. You got whitewashed in India. Where is the future for Sri Lanka then, if that's the case?
So what is the future? Anyway, we'll take a few questions because obviously a lot of celebratory comments coming in. We've got
Ashish, I think, is really winning that, that KBC poll fastest finger because always
his first. He says
one,
let's
but love
stick with
that.
Shami even if Hardik plays or doesn't. Going with Shardul indicates a defensive mindset ahead of the knockouts will send wrong signal to the opposition.
Now see, there were question marks on Siraj. He set it up today for you. What do you do? What do you do? You are not making any wholesale changes in the semi-final.
Then realistically, the only change you are making is potentially straight swaps.
That's
out
and it should be.
and Hardik in.
I wasn't even waiting for such a performance. Let's say even before that, I was saying stick to those fine.
People in team management might have been.
But today, I think again, if you're going by, let's say, law of averages or whatever you want to say, you're actually going by projections more than law of averages. By law of averages, you will not require 8 or 10 times for that number 8 to even bat.
True.
You are waiting for law of averages to bat. You're actually going on prediction over here.
That's the thing. See, a number 8, get a good bowler in. You're not expecting a number 8 to bat. Let's be very, very honest about it. You're not expecting number 8 to contribute a 60 or a 70 or an 80. That will happen if you're 100 for 8 in the chase of 280. Then you need your number 8 to step up. But still,
I think the team management is going to go back to the way they started with, because that is exactly what you have also mentioned, that they have backed what they have, the teams they have played since the beginning. So I feel as soon as someone like a Hardik Pandya comes, I think Shardul is coming in.
If that happens, then it might very well be a case, and we could be having this debate in hindsight, that the biggest deterrent to India actually snapping that jinx is themselves.
Exactly. Because
Could
if
be
you
right.
get Shardul in, you're making 2 changes. You're making 2 to 3 changes. Because now, Siraj/Shami, that has to happen. You're not playing only one spinner. You're not playing that.
I think the nature of these victories has put that thing to rest now.
You are playing with this team 11, barring Siraj is there, and also barring Suryakumar Yadav out, Hardik Pandya in straight.
Ashish Dhar gave us another comment saying Siraj Tornado is with Sri Lanka for the second time in a couple of months.
For the third time in 11 months. I mean, 73 Thiruvananthapuram, to Siraj who set it up.
Go up. There's another one we missed. Upar. Sarvesh Gaurav says such matches are embarrassing for a World Cup. I would tend to agree with him because again, I would expect such kind of humiliations in a FIFA World Cup where there are 32 nations playing and there's a clear gulf in class. 10-team tournament, if you're seeing such lackings, there are definite questions that need to be asked about the level of competition.
Yeah.
Paritosh Dikshit is on a lighter note. Sri Lanka scored 10% more runs than the Asia Cup final. I work in corporate America and a 10% improvement quarter over quarter is considered great.
From 50 to 55. Exactly 10%.
So they're getting to 60 next time.
Next time 60 then.
That's another 10%. But when will India play Sri Lanka next? That we don't know. And
hopefully not for a long time, dear God.
No, they're not playing in this WTC cycle as well. So
that makes sense. Hari from the US also says, won't be 11-0 or 8-0 if for India versus South Africa bat first, or if we meet SA in semi or finals and India lose toss and SA bat first. Interesting point. It's an interesting hypothesis to put it this way, because again we don't really know. For all you know, even if South Africa bat really well, India might chase it down.
But he's saying in the semi-finals or the finals, he will also saying, because both India and South Africa playing in the semi-finals looks like a distant and an improbable thought now.
More likely that it will be a final clash. More likely.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like a semi-final.
Semi-final it can't.
I don't think that South Africa will cross that semi-final ladder.
I mean, see, New Zealand managed to do it in 15. They are doing it twice. Now, if you look at it, South Africa's turn is next. So,
Dex makes an interesting point. He says that why do you guys, why are you even discussing India will win an Arsenal like 2004 easily?
The invincible season.
but that was 3, no?
No, 3-4.
3/4. But let's not mention that because Arsenal 2 decades now going through the worst drought ever. You don't want that to happen with the Indian team.
That is also correct. Siddharth, not R1, points out all are hyping Pakistan after beating a deflated Bangla team they will be humbled by New Zealand. I mean, I would tend to agree with you, but New Zealand's downturn has come at a very weird time.
And remember, Pakistan in 48 years of World Cups have lost only twice to them. 83 they lost to them. 28 years later, Ross Taylor's 131 at Palakele gave them that. In 19, they were humbled. New Zealand suffered their first loss against Pakistan. After that, they started losing a couple of games in that sense. So that's why. But remember, the weather in Bengaluru is not that good. And it's a day game that we have on 4th. So let's see how that goes. Freaking Awesome was saying, Shami has moved to number 8 in total number of wickets in World Cups. He's only 4 behind Trent Bolt and Chaminda Was. Shami has the best and incredible bowling average, 12.91 in World Cup.
He's like we always talk about when you're talking about reasons to recall Shikhar Dhawan. Someone who has a phenomenal record in ICC tournaments.
Yeah.
Shami's like that with the ball.
He is.
Phenomenal.
ICC to ICC bowler.
Yeah.
And particularly for ODIs, I would say.
Yeah.
Because again, 2015 he was really good, but thereafter for the next 4 years, I think he kind of fell out of favor as far as the white ball scheme of things
He
is
didn't
concerned.
fall out of favor. He had a very debilitating knee injury.
Yeah, but that also, there were times when he was still playing white ball cricket, wasn't having the same kind of impact.
15, he was your leading wicket taker
Yes.
with 18 wickets or something.
Correct.
Yes. 16,
Yeah.
he couldn't play because of that knee injury. It took him close to a year to recover full walking strength also. That was how bad that knee injury was. So
Yeah, but thereafter, if you remember, see, 17, he wasn't part of the scheme of things as far as white ball cricket. If you look at, say, the, Champions Trophy and all, he was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
He was not really up in the prime. You had Bhuvneshwar, Bumrah were your lead seamers at that point. And even
I
in
think
19,
the South Africa series turned it around for him. 17, 18.
even in 19, lest we forget, he wasn't part of the team initially.
Yeah.
He came in later on. So it's the same story here in 23, but every time he's played, phenomenal record. No two ways about it.
Yeah, got you a hat trick, got you 5 wickets against England, and now he's gotten 13 wickets in 3 games. So, any other questions, please?
Just take 1 or 2 more,
Yeah.
then we can
Just go up. Shivam.
down, you mean?
Yeah, down. GGK saying, feeling same dominance as Aus 2000's ODI side, keeping nostalgia side. This team is better than our 2011 side.
I mean,
See, that last point, if India win the World Cup this time, then that debate can happen.
yeah.
Just the debate can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a debate. Because see, 2011 was an era-defining win. Where India is today is all because of that only.
Also, both teams look different in their own ways.
Yeah.
Both have their strengths. Okay, it'll be a good debate, let's say. And one, let's keep only after we win the World Cup. And Karthik K with a super chat.
That's our last comment of the day, I guess. He says that the question shouldn't be who India want to face in the semi-final, but who wants to face India. Well said. Australia aren't beating South Africa in the semis.
Yeah.
Rohit was frustrated that Jaddu wasn't getting big hits today. Actually, yeah, there was a point where Jadeja kind of...
But I think they bowled well to him.
Yeah, they did.
They did. Because remember at that time it became much more difficult to bat. Shreyas, that's why the impact, the intensity that he showed made a big difference.
Made a big difference.
His knock ensured that we went to 350 plus. We were not even getting to 350 plus when it was not for Shreyas Iyer. So, yeah, I mean, Australia ain't beating SA in semis. I do agree. They have got a massive problem. You're saying Sri Lanka has a mental block against India.
Australia and South
Australia has a massive mental block against South Africa. Only 3 out of 19 matches they have won. Others they have all lost 16. That too, all by big margins.
And lest we forget, this is the same Australia who were leading a 5-match ODI series 2-0 in South Africa, only to go and bottle it and lose 3-2. How do you do that?
Yep.
You just basically did what South Africa normally do.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, let's see, South Africa, they're all, I'm telling you, they are playing with a vengeance to overcome all their past misdeeds.
To shed that tag, that
See,
dreaded
they have
tag.
beaten England after...
C-tag.
They have beaten England after 16 years. They have beaten New Zealand after 24 years. They have continued the winning momentum against Australia, made it 3-3. They have beaten Pakistan after 24 years. So they will be determined to do well against India also. And let us not forget, South Africa have also not allowed the outside noise to trouble them that much. But they are very well aware that the tag of that C word that comes with them attached, they want to really eliminate that. And remember, South Africa are the only team, in a weird twist of fate, they are the only team with a 100% success record in an ICC final. Because they reached in only one final. In 1998, they won that. They reached the Under 19 World Cup final only once. They won that as well. In 2014, but no, twice. That's a 50-50 record. They lost in 2008. But 14, so only one ICC final that they have reached, they have won that.
Interesting.
1998. So that's why it's going to be very, very tough. But let's see now. There are only 3 spots vacant. Only 3 spots, and 5 teams are going to battle it out: South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Pakistan, Afghanistan. And tomorrow we have got Afghanistan versus the Netherlands. Let's see how that match pans out. But 4th and 11th, your 2 matches, 2 days where you have the double headers before we are building up to King Kohli's birthday and India South Africa on 5th November at the iconic Eden Gardens in Kolkata. So it's 7th heaven for India at this point. 7 consecutive wins now, and I think ever since Palakele, barring that no result, is this now 11 straight ODI wins for India?
It's true, you lost Sri Lanka.
Where? When? Where? When? How?
The last match.
The league game we won by 35 runs. Vellalage, remember, he took 5 wickets, but that we won.
We won that game. We tend to forget that.
Yeah, we beat Nepal.
What?
We beat Nepal.
One match, I think.
In the Asia Cup?
Yeah.
Not in the Asia Cup. We didn't lose. You had no result.
Asia Cup T20 you lost.
That was
Sri
last
year.
2022.
Yeah. You've not lost. So Nepal, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, again Sri Lanka. 11 straight wins now you've got. Actually, you've established a great winning streak at this point in time. I'm saying here, I'm not counting the Pakistan no result.
Yeah.
The last game that you actually lost was to the West Indies in Barbados.
Of all teams.
July. That was July.
And that too was a B team, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that was a B team. So that's why you lost to the West Indies in Barbados. Since then, you have been only winning. That's the winning sequence that you have. And remember, any team that has a winning sequence, say 6 months or a year prior, they do well in World Cups. Australia are proof of it. So let's see, India 2 days from now, or 3 days, 5th November, they take on South Africa, which is going to be a crucial game for South Africa. And tomorrow it's Afghanistan, Netherlands. So great day for India, horrible day for Sri Lanka. It continues the nightmare for them. So let's see if they can bounce back. So, shall we call it a day?
Yes,
gentlemen?
or a night in this case.
A night. Okay, gentlemen, see you, and we will be
Bye-bye.
back with more updates on sports today from Nikhil, Shashwat, me, Shane, and Harshit. It's bye-bye. See you tomorrow with all the latest updates.